Joey Star here for Star Quality Kitchen. You know about tofu and you know about instant noodles, but did it ever occur to you that you can have instant noodles made from tofu? I sure didn't think so, but here we are. HealSpot is a company with a whole range of products that seem to have a focus on wellness and somewhat of a holistic approach to a better life. And one of their products that I'm going to be talking about today is their tofu noodles. Consistent with HealSpot's mission, these are noodles that you can prepare very quickly, and they happen to be halal and vegan, keto and diabetic friendly, and the whole shebang of the healthy wagon. And something else to make note of too, especially when you're looking at healthier versions of noodles, is that it's very low in sodium. And when I mean low, I mean 10 milligrams per serving. No MSGs, no artificial flavors, extremely low carb, low fat, just low. And the price point is in between instant noodles on the cheap end and public goods on the higher end of alternative noodles. So for maybe a couple of bucks more, you can get a case of this and just reap those health benefits. But other than that, we don't know anything about it. So here's my promise to you. By the end of this video, you're gonna know what the experience is like preparing and eating these, and whether or not the health benefits versus the cost is worth adding this to your pantry. So taking a look at an individual package, these tofu noodles are actually sitting in some water. So it's very similar to getting those keto and paleo friendly pastas from your store where it's in the water and you basically drain and rinse what's in the bag. And also, just like that pasta example I gave you, there's nothing else here. No flavor packets or anything. This is not an instant ramen. This is just ready to eat noodles. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw something together to add these noodles to see how they pan out in a real life situation. First of all, I separated one individual smaller noodle from the batch because I wanted to see what this is like. Here is one of those noodles there. Woo! And so first of all, let's talk about this texture a little bit. It's a bit odd. Like if you're expecting it to be a pasta and to act and look and feel like a pasta, it's not really how it is. So, I mean, it's flimsy enough. The density of this noodle is kind of like what would be if it was like highly al dente, except that the level al dente would need to be this solid. It wouldn't be so flimsy like this. That's something I find interesting. And also, if you're looking at the color, I mean, obviously it's made out of tofu, so it's pale and there's pretty much, the aroma is very, very light, and it's almost like, it's kind of like clay, like a very light smelling Play-Doh, okay? But I'm not gonna worry about it because the thing is, tofu is known to be kind of the Play-Doh of foods, right? You can make it into anything. Apparently you can make it into pasta. And before I get into this, I just wanna break off a piece because I just want you to see. Here, I'm just gonna give it a little tug. Okay, so it didn't stretch. It actually just broke off, but it took a little effort to do so. That being said, if I give it a squeeze, I mean, it's kind of flexible. You know, it takes a little effort before you squeeze it, but it only kind of flattens out the moment before it breaks apart. So it's that type of consistency. Now let's see what this tastes like completely plain. So that texture, it reminds me a little bit of like a glass noodle, if you ever had one of those. It's almost like chewing on heart of palm, except that I don't like the taste of heart of palm. I don't mind the taste of this. The thing about this is, when it comes down to it, it is tofu, and therefore, it doesn't much taste like anything. One of the things that makes tofu so versatile is that it mainly takes on the flavor of whatever you're making with it. I can't say that it's bad, and I can't say that it's good. It's just there, just like tofu. That being said, I did prepare something to give it kind of a soup kind of test. So I made a little pot of beef broth. I added a little bit of chopped onion there just to kind of give the flavor a little bit of a zing. And Now, I've had these tofu noodles sitting in this boiled broth now for about 5 or 6 minutes. Let's see how it came out. Let's see what sitting in the broth for the last 5 to 8 minutes has done to the texture. Just from picking it up with my chopsticks, it seems very little has changed. It doesn't seem it's not mushy at all. It retained the same bounce that it had when I tried it as is. Let's just give it a taste here. It did get just a hint softer, and in doing so, the consistency isn't so much like that glass noodle. Like I said, it's a little bit closer to a regular spaghetti. I'm gonna take a little more. It's slightly less chewy, but it's really tender and really breaks apart easy. Like you don't even really have to chew it so much as allow it to make contact with your teeth to start to separate. Now, from a flavor perspective, the tofu flavor on it actually tastes a little bit bitter, having soaked in this beef broth, but not because it absorbed the flavor. There's almost no beef broth flavor in that noodle when I slurp it in such a manner, but the taste is a little less tofu-like, if that makes sense. So it's like its own creation. I gotta take a little bit more here. The best way I can really describe this is that it's not unpleasant. It's an interesting texture, it's an interesting chew, not in a way that's gross or anything. It grabbed maybe a hint of flavor from the broth, but if you're looking to use this as a substitute for a ramen noodle, you're gonna find it kind of lacking, because one of the things that we really love in a good ramen noodle is the ability for it to cling on to the flavor of whatever broth is sitting in. This doesn't really do that. Now, if you have yourself a decent soup, but it's mainly broth, and you're looking just to add a little substance to it without taking in the starch, this is not a bad way to go, because even though it doesn't cling on to that flavor, it does start to take some of its own flavor, and it can help fill you a little bit in a way that's very gentle in terms of adding to your carbs and calories and fat and sugars, sodiums, whatever. It's all but a free food when you toss it in there. So if you're looking at it from a dietary perspective, this is kind of a useful and versatile type of noodle. The other thing I'm gonna add here, and you may have already noticed this, but the texture of these noodles and how slippery they are and how odd they are, it does make it tougher to manipulate with chopsticks. Even with somebody that's decent at it like me, it does slurp up really nicely though, and very cleanly. I would say to be used as a low impact filler in a brothy soup, I would give that about a 6 out of 10. But I'm not quite finished testing this yet. Let's try this in another setting where it might fare better. I'll see you for dinner. Dinner time! So I decided to try this in a different way. Basically made myself a meat sauce with onion and ground beef, of course, and I made myself a bowl and mixed it up with our tofu noodles, as you can see here. And right off the bat, the unique nature of the noodles and the way they're made, since Heel Spot wants to try to keep things as natural as possible, they're not doing much to make it look the same color that you'd be used to. So this is like a bright white on here. So it's not the prettiest bowl of spaghettis you can make. Then again, there's plenty of ugly foods out there that are good, right? So I think really the best thing I can do here, once again, it's tofu. It kind of takes on the aroma and the flavors, whatever you're eating it with. So let's just get right into the nitty gritty here. I know I made a good sauce because I've made it hundreds of times. Let's see how it performs. That is a great sauce. I could take another forkful. Just not for nothing, but great job on the sauce, Joey. Great job, buddy. Let's go ahead and just take a little more. I want to give you a really good description of what this experience is like. So in this context, I feel like the tofu noodles actually work pretty well. The texture, while it is a little odd compared to a traditional pasta, it's definitely less off than it was in the soup situation. You know, the chew on it is different. If you ever went out and had these low and no carb noodles before that are made from like whatever, konjac, different kinds of like roots and other things, mushrooms or whatever. If you ever had those type of noodles, those ones like Miracle Noodles, perfect example. If you ever had that before, it's good, but the chew of the pasta is different. Like that's where you really notice that you're not having a traditional pasta. This is no different. Actually, I'm going to say one thing about this that I think I even like better than the Miracle Noodle, because I do like Miracle Noodle, is that while the chew is kind of weird, it doesn't feel like it's semi-rubbery. Whereas with the Miracle Noodle, it kind of is. It's kind of like just for 1 second, you get that bit of a bounce resistance to it that's not present with the tofu noodles. Which in the case of having meat sauce, it makes that transition a bit smoother, I think. Definitely more enjoyable this way. So my rating, tofu noodles used as a spaghetti substitute with a meat sauce, I'm gonna give that a 7 out of 10. Like it's pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. I mean, I can do this. I have like 4 packages left of this noodles. More than likely, I'm gonna use it in this way because I feel like this is giving me the best mileage for what it is and for practically no carbs at all. So, I mean, I can't argue with that. And if you make a badass meat sauce like I did here, you're barely gonna notice the difference because that tofu is just taking in that meat sauce flavor as if it were its own child. Heel Spot tofu noodles, pretty good substitute when you're trying to keep your carbs down or you're just avoiding that starch. You're gonna try something different. You wanna be a little more clean and healthy. It's not a bad way to go, especially at its price point. In true tofu fashion, it's versatile in its applications as well as the flavors that it mixes well with. So you can make a soup out of it like you saw. You can make like a spaghetti, Italian style pasta like you just saw. You can cut it up and put it into salads. You can stir fry it with other stuff. I'm sure it's gonna be great. Tofu it's just one of those things. What's really great about it too, see, I acquired a taste for tofu after becoming an adult, but as a kid I hated it. But if you don't like tofu, you're probably gonna still like this because it doesn't retain that weird texture and taste when you're getting those chunks of tofu at the health store in a salad or in a sweet and sour soup. Although I like it, you might not, but if you don't like it, you still might like this. If you can get a hold of one package or you know somebody who has it and you're curious and you're not a tofu fan, give it a shot, you might be surprised. How about you? Have you tried these tofu noodles before? Have you tried other products from Heel Spot? I mean, I've never even heard of them before finding these noodles. What did you think? What's your favorite product by them? What's your favorite substitute noodle, right? I know they got stuff there made out of, tree roots and mushrooms and stuff like that. Is there a particular one that you think is great and you'd like me to review it? Drop that into the comments below. I want to know what your thoughts are because this is also your channel. Thanks so much for watching Star Quality Kitchen. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and stalk. Laters. I'm really glad I tried this because this could be a good way to lower your carbs, taking in a good amount of meat, but still adding something that's going to help fill you up down here.